When you ninja, she
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's episode of Tales of Escuria. I believe episode 23? I can't remember, I haven't changed the title yet. Episode 23, we'll go with that. So as always, we are brought to you and associated with by Horsham Gamers. We're a local group who cover the whole range of gaming through from tabletop and roleplay stuff like this, through esports, competitive gaming, board games, pretty much anything you can think of if it's related to gaming or nerd culture. We're interested in it too, and we would love to meet you. We have so many events that are coming up soon, and a little sneak preview, we've just started planning for next year's Horsham Gaming Festival. Keep that on the hush hush. Coming in 2020. Hoping to be bigger and better than before. So if you want to get involved in the community and the lead up to that, and either try and help us out, run your own things, anything you can think of, then please just do get in contact with us. We've got our social links down below. If you look for Horsham Gamers on Discord, Facebook, or Twitter, our Facebook and Discord are where we're most active most of the time, so that'll be the easiest to get in contact with us, and we'd love to meet some of you. So, without further ado, we'll get on with tonight's episode of Tales of Escuria. So, where we'd left off, the group had gone to investigate a mysterious ship which had pulled alongside their current residence, the Maral Cultrescen, in the middle of the night, with no lights on board. And going aboard the ship, they discovered that most people seem to have fled the ship and gone overboard, or been slain aboard the ship, but there are no signs of any bodies, except for one person, a survivor who had been hiding in the hold, who is both deaf and mute, and the party are currently investigating some of the ship and had found their way into the captain's quarters to investigate any documents that were left behind. So, we come back in on the interior of the captain's ship, or the captain's quarters, and you can see that, as we described before, it looks like the inside of this of the quarters had been basically ripped apart, but less so by someone searching for something, and more so someone had forced their way in order to kill the captain or take him, or something similar. Lying upon the desk itself, there are a number of different documents. However, the majority of them have been completely ruined by what seems to be a pot of ink that had been knocked over in the fight. Of those which are left kind of available, and those which are still legible, you can see on the far kind of left-hand side of the desk, there is a large leather-bound book with the pages open that appears to be a kind of crew and goods manifest. It seems to have on it just kind of a list of the current crew and any of the cargo and the amount of money that they're expecting to be able to trade that cargo for. But all that seems to be in order and nothing seems to poke out particularly. But what you can see is pretty much everything is ruined by the ink, except for there are a couple of sheets of paper which are fairly close to the ship's manifest, that had only been kind of partially covered in the ink. One of them appears to be a map, which has kind of some staining around it. The map was kind of closest to the manifest, and then just next to it is what appears to be a handwritten letter. Give me a second. You guys should be able to see it on your screens now. This is what you find.
I can see it.
Is there a language we can understand?
Who actually went to the room? Because I know I'm not there. So until they come back.
I'm with
You're
Taylor.
there. Okay, cool.
Okay, I think
Oh,
it was.
yeah, you're
I think
here.
it was Vixen and Alessia. So,
Yeah.
for now, we'll say that
We
Alessia
can't
is kind of
ask
standing
language.
guard on the deck. Vixen, you're pretty much the one who's like looking through these things.
Okie dokie. Do I have any idea what that says?
Make an intelligence check for me, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Noise.
You know from looking at that, this is not a language. This is a cipher. And you can tell with a nat 20 on your intelligence check, you think this is a kind of basic substitution cipher, where every single one of these individual glyphs represents a letter. And someone has just been like, okay, A equals this, B equals this, C equals this,
Easy.
so on and so forth. Pretty basic kind of code stuff. And you reckon with enough time, you'd probably be able to figure out what it says, but it's going to take you like some time, some effort, and basically brute forcing it to be like, okay, what if that letter was this? Let's try this now.
To try that.
Can I let me just check something. A sec.
What is that? Who's talking about pork sauce?
Don't hear anyone talking about pork sauce. That might be
Oh.
Mark.
I'm really sorry. Netflix like opened on my computer and started like showing the preview of the first bloody program. Sorry about that. Carry on.
Yes, this letter, when you decipher it, says pork sauce, apples,
Gosh, that's embarrassing.
barrel of, shopping list.
Sorry, guys.
Um,
It sounded like someone had unmuted themselves and like started playing something.
with that nat 20 as well, Vixen, just getting us slightly back on track. You do notice that there's obviously this cipher and these various different letters and symbols, but down at the bottom, whereas all of the symbols seem to be kind of like handwritten, like
Yeah,
quill
I was
and
going to
ink.
ask about that print at the bottom, like a signature.
Yeah, that's that you can tell is done with a stamp rather than with pen and ink. Make a history or religion check for me, please.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
Vixen
be
is
one of
doing well
those days.
today. Okay. It takes you a little while, because it's not exactly the same, but you reckon this is a stylized version of the symbol that belongs to a religious cult. This is a one of the various different cults of Lolth. And this is a cult that calls themselves the Eyes.
Oh,
Um,
no.
And with that, you've had a certain amount of dealings with the Eyes before. They basically have this ethos, which is it's not enough for us to kind of like it's not enough for us to root out heretics and to make sure that our own lands are like pure and believe in Lolth. We must actively destroy people who don't. Like, we need to go and like invade other people and be like, no, we will make you believe. They are one of the most militant and aggressive cults, and they are one of the current leader of this cult is the current ruler of House Ralek.
Right.
The map.
Oh,
How long are we here for?
It's up to you.
Because I would like to try and decipher this, if anyone's got any problems with that.
I like.
If we help you, can we get like
Can we get it
Any-
done faster?
Someone can try and
Malek
provide
is not
advantage.
that far.
Can someone try and what? Sorry?
Malek is the other side of the map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, but if you make
Sorry,
it like a
shush, Cal
boat-
was talking. Hold on.
Basically,
We could what?
if someone wants to try and help, then they can roll to try and provide advantage. This isn't going to be. I'll tell you now. This isn't going to be a. I'm on the ship and I decipher it now. This is going to be like a. You're probably going to take like a couple of days of like taking cracks
Okay.
at this to get through
Okay,
it.
yeah, I'll roll it up and put it in my pocket. I'll take it with.
Okay.
I will decipher it later.
And let me see. Where's?
I hope
the
that
map?
you will tell us about this.
Yeah.
Will I? Will I?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Give me a second. I thought I'd made this. I hadn't. I just need to really quickly make a handout for you guys. Give me a second. But yeah, you also see the next to it, slightly less damaged by the ink. You can see a map. A fair amount of it is obscured, including like any kind of information, kind of as to a name of the place. But you guys can see what you can make of it. Give me a second.
So what I meant about the map, right, is that Wrong, because I thought it was like the globe, so it would just continue to the other
Nope.
side if you kept going off
Oh,
right.
I see what you mean. No.
No,
It's not that.
this is all
Okay.
contained within a very, very large cave. Like, thousands of kilometers large cave. But at some point you reach a wall on either side.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, it's very far away.
Yes.
It's the real flat Earth.
Okay. Let me see.
It was flat.
There we go. This is the map that you guys find.
Ooh.
So was that along with the Was that along with the
The
what's
note,
the word?
yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. The note.
That
So
thing you need to decipher.
if the manifest with the ship's crew and everything is on the left and the note is on the right, this was in the middle.
Right. Okay.
Does it look like anything in particular on them?
This looks juicy.
It looks like a map.
Yeah.
A juicy
Oh,
map.
Treasure map.
Was
It's on the
there any?
bottom left.
Was there anything else then? What was the other thing? If there was a map and a note, so what was the third thing?
The third thing was the ship's manifest that said, like, here's the number of crew that we have on board. Here's,
You know what? I'll
like,
take the whole lot.
easy enough to do. When you kind of like reach over and grab the book and then like close it to take it with you, you can see that written on the front of it in very kind of fancy lettering is what you can assume to be the name of the ship, which is Veneric Dalneen, which means the Silent Sisters.
Let me just write that
Mm.
down.
Oh no.
I'll pop it in the chat here.
The Silent Sisters.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Hang on. Go. Sorry, I just realised I haven't been showing any of this to the stream. I've been showing them the cam view. So I'll just very quickly, for the benefit of the viewers at home, here is the map that they found, and I'll leave it up on the screen, and the letter cipher thing with the little symbol down at the bottom there. Okay, I'll leave those up on the screen for now.
So
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if it's the Silent Sisters, would that mean there's like more than one ship?
It's a good question.
Ooh.
Is there a way I can find out? Can I tell? Can I tell from the manifest?
Not from the manifest, no.
Can I tell from anything else?
Let me see. Make a perception check.
Ah, you would, wouldn't you?
Oh,
Okay.
the hot streak is over.
Yeah. Looking around the place, if you're trying to find any other details that might show you anything, everything else basically seems to be like wrecked, chopped into firewood. Like, pretty much the only reason that the desk hasn't been like completely destroyed is it seems like it's a real sturdy desk. Everything else in this place is just like wrecked.
Okay. Alicia's in the room with me, isn't she?
She's standing guard, I think.
Yeah, she's standing just outside.
Can I ask her to have a look? Can we perhaps play her sheet frown?
Give me a second.
Okay.
So you can definitely ask her. The slight issue with this is that the captain's quarters are not meant for someone of her size. So she can just about get in, but like she's basically like hunched down. Like, I'm trying to think of a good visual reference for this, but you know, like when a very, very tall person is in a space that is not designed for them.
Yeah.
Like, Mr. Incredible in The Incredibles in his tiny car. Like, she's basically like that inside
Oh.
this place. Like, okay, we'll
All
have
right,
a look.
Alicia, don't worry. Don't strain your neck or hurt yourself. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can see in this room that I could take or that I could root or see anything in?
No, this seems to be pretty much everything. It seems like if
Okay.
there was anything else, it was either taken or has been pretty much wrecked to the point where it's not going to be of any use to anyone anymore.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna walk back up on deck then and see what everyone else has found.
Okay. So the rest of you were still down in the hold. You can each make investigation checks to see if you find anything interesting.
Yep.
1 second.
Investigation.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, that's even better.
Go, Elland!
Okay.
What?
How are you on fire this time as well? You did last time, didn't you? You had all the
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's about time
So-
our Elland pulled through.
Fuck you. Sorry.
Dude!
Kada, as you're looking around, it seems like this just seems to be pretty standard cargo. There's nothing which kind of like pokes out to you too much. Ellen, you do spot off in the corner, kind of underneath a tarpaulin, you find a crate, and the crate is marked with the sigil of House Marivo.
Oh, juicy.
What?
Okay, is anyone looking at what I'm doing?
Yes,
I just-
bitch, I am.
I know.
Roll for it! Roll for it!
Screw
Can
you,
I
Dan.
just sneakily cover it somehow, like with a piece of cloth that's around or something like that?
Ellen, make a sleight of hand check, and anyone else who wants to look, make perception checks.
I'm gonna do
Oh
that.
god, I'm never gonna beat that. Jesus.
I invite you.
Is it perception check?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that was close.
Well, it's not really about beating it, it's whether he does it and whether she can see it, but yeah.
In these
it's
cases,
probably-
it's a competitive role, in which case it is, do
Yeah.
you beat the number? So, Ellen, you are able to act quickly enough that you're able to basically just be like, put that cloth back down, not make it look like you're just like, oh, there was nothing there.
Put that
Okay.
thing back where it came from, so help me.
So help me.
Ellen is very much the Mike Wazowski
So
of the
help
group.
me. So help me.
Anyway.
I need to watch that again. Anyway,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, that's it. I will leave it there like for now.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, everything here seems to be pretty much in order. The guy has now emerged from the barrel of apples, and he's just kind of like, he's basically sat down on like a small crate that's next to it, just kind of like looking back and forth as you guys like investigate. He seems to basically like not really know what to do with himself, so he's just watching.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it cold on the ship?
No more than you would expect it to be.
I just thought in terms of like making him feel comfortable or like helping, I could produce fire and I could keep him warm. But if it's already warm, then there's
I
no
mean-
point.
Probably not down here, maybe on deck, but
Hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be particularly bothered by temperature, and it's no more cold than you would expect it to be. Like, it's about the same temperature it is on over on the ship. Like,
Okay.
it's cold down here in the Underdark, but it's not too bad.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Okay. We'll say about this time, Vixen, you've finished investigating upstairs, and you guys have finished investigating downstairs.
Will be.
so I guess we'll move up to the deck.
Mhm.
Meet her there.
Okay.
Ask if she found anything.
you guys get back up to the deck.
Did you find anything?
I did. I found the ship's manifesto. I'd like to speak to the captain because something seems a bit fishy about this whole
Where are we going to find the
situation.
captain?
No, our captain.
Oh, I see. Right, sorry.
That
Ca-
makes more sense.
What did you find down in the
Apples.
Can you show us what you found, Vixen? Like just
the ship's manifesto?
what's that?
It
Exactly.
just
Like-
tells you all the people that were on the ship
And where
before
it
they
was
jumped
going and
off.
stuff like that.
Now we know that they're not here now, but it's something I want to go over with the captain. Being a seafaring captain already, she may know something. She may know of the ship. She may know of the people. It's best to ask her first.
Can I tell if she's lying?
You could do it inside.
Make an
Well,
insight
I'm doing
check.
insight too.
That's what I wanted to do. But I
And
don't know if
Vixen,
it's
make a
Oh,
deception
man.
Can I
check.
try and see if she's lying?
Yeah.
metagaming or something.
You can read you can try and do an insight check if you'd like.
Ha!
Oh!
Oh, man.
No, that's a
No,
perception
no,
check,
no.
Vixen, not deception.
Oh, I thought you said perception.
Oh.
No,
Sorry.
deception.
perception.
You are lying.
No, he said deception.
Oh.
'Cause people were talking. I thought he said perception as well.
Okay, so make a deception check, Vixen.
Can I get advantage?
19 is still good enough.
No.
Okay.
Oh, damn it!
Yep. As far as you guys can tell, that's the truth. She found the ship's manifest. That's it.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah.
What do we do now? Talk to the captain and bring
Uh,
this guy aboard?
Are both ships like sailing like parallel one to each other? How are
Yeah,
Yeah.
our
Yeah, they
captain
are now.
waited. Yeah.
Yeah.
they? Okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, I agree about going to the other ship,
Mm-hmm.
but before going to the other ship, I just tell the others that I want to get some apples from the lower deck.
Downstairs.
Go on, Ellen. You get your apples. We'll
Okay.
wait.
Okay.
Get a move on. I don't want to stay around here too long.
Okay. So I go downstairs and I want to check like that crate as fast as I can, like what's inside,
Okay.
without being really like exhaustive about it because I don't want to be suspicious.
Okay. Make a stealth check to see whether you make any noise trying to get the crate open, and then we'll see what you find.
Oh,
Oh,
of course.
Nice.
nice,
Oh my God,
nice.
what is going on?
The gods of Roll20 are shining on us today.
Apparently.
Okay.
Smooth.
So, when you open it up, you can see inside what looks to be various different bits of kind of, various bits of navigation equipment. You can see like there's compasses. You can see like, various different kind of like nautical, like bits of little machinery. But you also see down at the bottom, what appears to be a dust-covered bottle of some kind.
What?
Down it, down
How,
it.
how does it look like?
We
Is it like
love to drink with
what?
Ellen.
What color is it?
The bottle itself is opaque, kind of dark
Okay.
dark brown glass.
Okay. And can I tell what, like, if it's something weird inside? Like, I don't know. For example, if I see a purple liquid, it would be like weird, something like this.
Make a history check.
Oh God, what's happening?
What?
Oh, the dice love you guys today.
I know.
I need to put a
Don't
stop to
jinx
this.
it.
We deserve this.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it.
So, when you kind of like pick it up, you turn it over and you can see there's a very faded label on it. This is a bottle of Morevo Original Brandy. It's about 400 years old.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Ooh.
I want some.
Okay.
It's probably worth a fortune.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just hide that, like, I don't know, inside my clothes, like, I don't know, yeah, wherever I can, and I take all the other stuff, all the navigation, like, trinkets, and I go upstairs again. And I
Okay.
just show them like, look at what I found between the apples, and I like carrying a bunch of apples and a lot of like shiny trinkets.
You found them amongst the apples.
Well, I've been looking around a bit better, you know. A crate just stood out between all the boxes, and I just found this.
Make a deception check, Elland.
Yeah.
14. Okay.
Ah.
Would it be insight or perception?
It would be insight.
Inside.
Oh wow.
Damn it!
Yes.
Loves you guys, not so
Love
much
your
me.
shiny trinkets, Ellen. Good find. Right, let's head back.
Okay. At this point, the ships have kind of moved close enough that they can basically run a couple of boards across. So when you guys get kind of to the edge of the ship and hail to get taken back over, they quickly fetch like some long boarding planks and just kind of pop them across so you can walk between the two ships. At this point, various different of the deckhands have gone back to doing their jobs to try and make sure that the ships stay in parallel. But the captain, Koram, and the first mates of are standing waiting for you guys to return on the deck. And once you guys have all crossed, and are you taking the other guy with you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as all of you have gone across the board planks, this man is kind of like halfway across, and Savar just slithers up and draws a sword and is just like, "Who is this?"
He's a deaf and a mute. He really is harmless. He was hiding in the cargo hold. We found him. He's the only survivor, and he really can't tell us much because of his condition.
So
I'm
on
still-
a ship where you found everybody dead except one person.
I think you and the captain need to come see what I found. I need to talk to you both. We can bring him along if you don't trust him. Honestly, I don't think he's going to cause any problems, but you can make that judgment for yourself. If he does, then by all means, slit his throat.
You can see like Savar like smiles a little bit when you say that. At this point, Koram steps forward and is just like, "That will not be necessary. It's all going to be fine. I'm sure they are just an innocent bystander. Let's just everybody calm down, okay?" And
Make him
Savar
think
just
he's
kind of
marching
like
inside.
puts their sword like back in the sheath and then like slithers slowly backwards, like keeping eye contact with the guy the whole time, just kind of like.
Always watching.
How many more Monsters Inc. references?
Why
can we
is
get
this a
today?
Monsters
All of
Inc.
them.
episode? What happened?
Right, so can I go speak to them both, and can I
I'm
take Kada with
coming
me?
with you. Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted to take you with me. No one else, just Kada.
Okay, I'm really sad.
Ellen,
I look like actively upset about this decision.
I think you should share some of your trinkets and your lovely apples with some of the crew, considering they've probably been a bit shaken up waiting for us.
What about me?
Boost morale. Boost morale.
Okay.
You guys, I'll be back in a sec. I'm just AFK for a few minutes.
Odie,
Okay.
you'd be great at boosting morale with Ellen.
Am I though?
Yes, and Alicia can stay behind to help protect everybody.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Okay. So are you taking them over onto the other ship, or is it just like go to the captain's quarters and have a chat? What's your plan? You're muted.
Sorry,
muted.
I pressed the wrong button. Go to the captain's chat and go to the captain's quarters and have a chat.
Okay. So when you get into the captain's quarters, you can see that things seem to have changed a little bit from the last time you were in here. Rather than kind of having the desk and a series of chairs for you to sit on that you would normally expect. You can see that all of the furniture in the room has kind of been pushed off to the sides, and in the middle of the floor you can see what seems to be painted onto the floor and kind of been there for quite a while, you assume, by the way that the paint has aged. What seems to be some form of arcane circle. And in the middle of it, there's a little kind of like what seems to be a cushion for someone to sit on.
Can I tell what the circle is?
Make an Arcana check. Okay. As best you can tell, this seems to be a circle which, in itself, is not for any specific spell. This is an amplification circle. This is a circle which is supposed to make it so that any innate magical ability that someone has can be enhanced slightly, whilst within the circle.
Okay, fair enough.
Um,
It's their ship. I'm going to go with trust it. It's the captain's quarters. They can do what
Yeah.
they like.
when after a couple of seconds, Koram grabs like a few of the chairs that are on the side of the room and like pops them down so that she's got one and you and Kada have one, and Savar just kind of like makes a little spiral of their tail and then like kind of rests down onto it and sits next to the captain. And Koram
Okay.
just says, "Tell me what you found."
Firstly, I found the ship's manifesto with all the people that were supposed to be on board that ship. You should find our lovely mute on there somewhere as well, hopefully, if we know what his name is. I found a map that's been damaged, which I am going to show you. I also found something else I'm going to show you, but before I do, I have a weird feeling about it, and I want to go over the ship's manifesto with you first because I need to know if this ship had a sister ship. Because this ship is called, what was it called? Hold on. I'm not going to say
The
this right.
Silent Sisters.
Eneric de Lenin, the Silent Sisters. Have you heard of them?
Maybe there's the Loud Sister or something like that.
She kind of like runs through some stuff in her memory for a second. You can see her like trying to run back through and going, "It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know, maybe I was just in port with it at some point. Nothing particularly sets off alarm bells. Show me the manifest."
Oh, yep. I passed over the manifest. If there's any names that might spark some interest, do let me know.
Okay. You can see she kind of like flips through a few of the early pages, then kind of like moves to somewhere kind of the middle of the manifest, opens it up and flips through a couple. And you can see her kind of like she seems to be puzzling about something, but she's not entirely sure what to make of it, so she just continues kind of like making her way through the manifest until eventually she gets to kind of like the latest page. And she says, "Okay, so mostly this manifest makes very good sense. There are a few details that are a little suspicious. If you would," and she kind of like opens it up to a page and like puts it down the middle, and she points to a couple of the different kind of figures on the kind of the financial part of the ledger, and she's like,
Okay.
"So you'll see here that they bought their goods for exactly 25 platinum pieces, and then when they arrived to
Wait, 25 platinum pieces?
yes, it is very
That's
standard
literally
for
just a crate full of apples.
no, this is for a different time. This is a much larger
okay.
shipment. We'll get back to those in a minute because this is also suspicious."
Oh, okay.
So they picked up their cargo for exactly 25 platinum pieces. Then they ship it for several months across the ocean. They go for a very, very strange series of ports which don't make any particular sense on any of the trade routes. And then on arrival in Red Fort, they sell their goods for also exactly 25 platinum pieces.
So no profit.
No profit, not a single loss to any of the things they have on board. This is not how business is done.
Well, I know enough to know that.
This is very suspicious.
Have
So-
you seen anything like this be done before?
I mean, I've seen a lot of ships try and cook the books, but none of them do it quite so blatantly. Something tells me that the cargo that they were moving might not have been cargo so much as maybe a person.
Well, we do have an inkling as to what attacked them, thanks to our mute little friend who draws some lovely diagrams and pictures, by the way. It was a kind of like a fishman thing. Gills,
Gills.
claws, very stabby. Apparently, according to our mute friend, a lot of the people were so scared they actually jumped off the ship. So they could still be in the waters nearby. Who knows? I think if not, they've probably been killed by this fish person.
I think that is likely.
Do you think that's who they could have been carrying? That they broke out?
I would not imagine so. The thing you are describing could be any number of creatures that are in these waters.
We think it's a sow. I can't remember how to say it.
Yeah, neither can I.
Sahwagen.
A swagan.
Thank you, Kada.
At this point, Koram just kind of like, you can see visually slumps, and it's just like, of course it's a Sahwagen. Of course it has to be a...
Is that bad?
Yeah, pretty bad. You don't tend to get many of these around here. But if you do run into them, it's pretty bad luck. Not much you can do, particularly. Unless you have a very capable security crew, such as yourselves.
I was going to just say, our services are yours, should you need them.
This might
And
not be
as
quite so
such-
routine a journey as I'd expected, it seems, but continue.
I think it's going to get worse. Okay, Kada, I did find something else down in the captain's quarters of that ship. The reason I brought you with me is because I want you to know I'm not sure if we should tell everyone as a group yet, because I'm not sure how big this problem may be.
Right.
So this is why I wanted to speak to the captain first, because she knows the sea. She knows, she would have heard things. I passed the map and I passed the map over, and I keep the note rolled up in my hand. But I passed her the map first, and I say, "Do you know where this is?"
You see her kind of like look at the map and then orient it a couple of different ways. And then she goes, "Oh, of course, yes. This is the sliver.
D'Souza what?
The sliver.
Liver.
It is down in the south.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, southwest corner of
Bottom left.
of
of the map.
Escuria.
Yeah.
Not particularly anything of interest there, though. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, on the map there seems to be a small village.
As far as I know, there is no settlement on this island, but interesting.
Did the manifesto say anything about a port near there?
Apart from them occasionally dropping things off in Talon View, no.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the closest port to it.
How long do you think it would take us to get down there?
From here,
Well, let's not rush down there yet.
I'm not suggesting we rush down there. I'm just asking a question. Jesus.
it's entertaining some hypotheticals. Good for these kind of meetings. From here, probably 10 days. It is not as far as that, we should be able to make the distance itself in about 5, but from what I hear, it's very difficult sea going around that area. There's a lot of hidden obstacles and difficult things you need to navigate. And she kind of like points to the map, and you can see like there's lots of like tiny little like island outcroppings around the actual main island itself. And she says, so the main island itself is kind of like a mountain range. The mountain range continues down underneath the ocean as well. It's just out of view, which makes
Do
it a
you
bit
know any
difficult.
ships with good navigators that would have no problem getting us past that?
This ship has a fine navigator.
And you'd trust them to be able to make that journey?
If necessary. Though it's not currently what we had planned.
No, it's not.
How long would it take
And
us
that
to
would
get to Talonview from here?
Talonview, probably 4 days. Again,
I'm just thinking
we
if we
need.
did want to go down there, we need to stop and supply up.
Well, I think if we stick to the same plan at the moment, and we'll all discuss this as crew as well as party, because I think that needs everybody's say so.
Of course.
Um,
We are planning to continue to Embaden. We will make the drop there, we will get paid, and then perhaps we can discuss this little mystery further.
okay, speaking of which, I shake the little note in my hand. I'm keeping hold of this. I am going to show you, but I know I can decipher it. But I wonder if you have seen anything like it before, and I pass it to her.
You can see that she kind of looks at it for a few seconds and then says, "It's gibberish." What does...
Right, okay. If I can decipher it, and I bring back to you everything that it says, I think maybe then we can decide on if we could travel back, can maybe continue on our current course, stock up, perhaps prepare the crew in case we need to come back, and maybe I'll have enough time to decipher it through that journey.
Well, it's going to take us a few more days to get to Emberton anyway, so provided
Well,
we
yeah.
don't have any problems along the way, you should have enough
That
time.
being said,
Yes, I have absolutely no problem with you spending some of your time while you're on board working on this.
There's plenty of the rest of us to keep a watch.
Yes, of course. And I think this should definitely be treated as a priority. If it contains information that we should know, I'm not expecting anything like, oh, by the way, avoid this island because it's full of Sahwagin, but just in case. It'd be good to know.
Yeah.
Alright. Now the person you found on board.
yes, our little deaf mute friend.
I'm not convinced that he's completely harmless. He is deaf and mute, but like the captain said earlier, he was the one person left on the ship. Like,
Well-
I'm happy to bring him aboard and look after him and stuff, but I feel like he should have a guard.
One of the diagrams he actually drew for us, he was on the deck when everyone jumped off. He was the only one still there standing. That sort of raised, that piqued my interest a bit. But I didn't say
Savar
anything at the time.
kind of like leans in a bit closer and is just like, you have only his word for this. And not even his word. His
His drawing.
drawings.
I mean, we could do a truth circle. But he'd need a pen and paper.
That would be alright. We picked up some from the other ship.
Do truth circles work like that, or it's only words?
That's
I don't know, actually.
a
Let me have
good
quick look.
question. Let me check. It'd probably be Zone of Truth.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Let me check the actual text of Zone of Truth.
I always
You
picture
create a
it-
magical zone that guards against deception in a 15-foot radius sphere centered on the point of your choice within range. Until the spell ends, a creature that enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn
Can't
starts its
speak
turn then
a deliberate lie.
Oh, damn.
must make it. Well, you say that, but he can't speak at all. So
Yeah.
surely it could be
No.
twisted to right.
No, he can't
That's
speak a
Cal's
deliberate
discretion.
lie. That's how the spell works. Because it's supposed to allow for you to be able to I gesture in a way that's suggestive, but I don't actually say anything.
Of course, yeah. Damn it! Damn you, magic!
Yeah, magic is specific. So yeah, you have a
Yeah,
feeling
just
that
got
it wouldn't
situations
affect
like
him
this.
anyway.
I think our plan is good for the moment.
Well, it's
We-
what we
we-
do with our little mute friend. That's the question. I think the plan so far is
Yeah.
great.
Well,
The captain kind of says, I will, I think we should bring him aboard, but keep him in the brig, and then we can see what we want to do with him later. And at this point, Savar is just like, Captain, I must protest. And it's just like, Savar, please. It's too late in there, and I need to get back to sleep. Can you just, for once, do what I say? And Savar is just like, yes, Captain.
I think he should have a guard with him at all times.
Yeah, perhaps Savar, because if he does step out of line, I think she'll be pretty quick to put him in his place.
Yes.
Does Savar have any? Can I ask her if she has any sort of magical powers? Because, like, if he's locked up, he's not going to be able to get out with a weapon. But if he's magic, then he might be able to still do something. So I'd like someone that can do
I
that.
could stay guard with her if you want me to.
You've got to decipher the thing. You can't.
Well, I
Yeah.
can sit there and decipher it while she watches, and then if any magic happens, I can, crack on with that.
Okay.
Savar just
yeah.
says, like, I have arcane means of all my own, thank you. And you can see, like, she, like, opens up her hand, and the points of each of her fingers, like, sharpen into, like, arcane, like, glowing claws, just like,
Oh.
Meow. Okay, that's fine then. I just want to make sure all the bases are covered.
yes. I will keep guard of the guest.
I really like her.
Same.
Of course you do. She just kind of, like, gets, like, uncoils herself a little bit, preparing to head off out of the quarters. And Koram says, is there anything else that I need to know, or can I get back to my meditation?
You can absolutely get back to your meditation. I think all the important stuff has been relayed. I'll be taking the manifesto and my map back and my note, though. I'm going to get off and decipher that.
Leave the manifesto with me, if you would.
Okay, but if I decipher the note and it says anything that may relate to the manifesto, do I have your permission to come back and take a look?
Oh, of course, you have permission to come back anytime. I just need... I think there's some more that I could maybe tease out of this if I had some time with it.
Okay, lovely, fantastic. I'll do that then.
Okay. And just as you guys are kind of getting up to leave, you see her kind of sit cross-legged and kind of like put her hands out to either side, and she starts to float slightly above the ground.
It's so cute.
What race is she? I can't remember.
She is a Gith Zerai.
So glad I asked. What the hell is that?
It was like an elf thing, wasn't
From
it?
another plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the
It's
Astral
like
Sea,
elves from
like
the
a
Astral Sea.
Fey elf kind of thing.
I just looked back at my notes. It was all there.
So yeah. You guys go back down to the main deck, and you can see that the man you found is still kind of just standing on the planks between the ship. Like, he doesn't seem to be in, like, any peril or anything. He's got pretty good sea legs on him, so he's keeping his balance perfectly fine, but he's just standing there waiting.
Oh, bless him.
Kind of gesture at him to like come onto the ship.
No. Let her take care of him. I think if we...
Yeah. He looks
wanna
at
piss
you,
her off.
Kada, immediately, and he's just like, huh? And then looks over towards Savar, and sees immediately Savar just kind of, like, grinning at him and then beckoning with one finger. He's just like...
Oh god.
and, like,
Their ship,
wanders
their
over.
rules.
Yeah.
And he seems to be led away fairly quickly down into the bottom of the ship towards the brig. Okay.
How did Ellen Denodi get on?
Okay. I wanna to ask you something, Cal.
Yeah.
Can I use those like instruments I found?
Instruments you found?
The
Trinkets.
ones, the navigation things.
Oh, those. You could make a survival check to see if you can figure out anything with them.
Okay.
Can you all hear my dog, by the way?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay.
What did you say? Survival.
Survival.
Survival, yeah.
Not
Jesus.
bad.
Mm-hmm.
For once, I think this is probably one of the only bits that you did kind of pay attention to of your education. The bit that was telling you how you can get as far away as possible from everyone else.
Funnily enough.
That sound like Ellen.
Mm.
Okay. How many of them there were on the crate? Like a lot of them, or just for one person to use?
It's just for one
it-
person, but they seem to be
Okay.
very, very like fine, and they seem to be new.
Okay, so I wanted to like do an auction and get some money, but if they are good, I will keep them.
Wait till we get to Emberden. Like, I know we're not in the same room, but if you wait till we get to Emberden, then you'll
Yeah.
get more money from.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In which case, yeah. Apart from that, the two of you guys have had like 5 minutes or so to do whatever you want to do to try and raise the morale of the crew in general.
Guys, go to sleep. You'll feel better.
Play a
Apples for everyone.
song.
No.
Play a
Can you
song.
can you sing, Odie?
Considering my performance skill is quite terrible, I highly doubt it.
Can you
Well,
dance?
But you can try.
I have a -1 in performance.
That's fine.
It'll
be
Minus
fine.
one is like fine.
I encourage you like actively to
It's
do it.
basically a 0.
Okay, shall we both?
Okay, yeah. So, what songs do you know?
A sea shanty.
Just a sea shanty, yeah.
Throwing it
Yeah.
out.
Okay, so let's try it. And I start playing, and I just wait for Odie to sing.
Okay.
Oh, the
Uh,
ocean waves may roll, and the stormy winds they blow. Oh no, I just forgotten the words.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what happens. Elland, you play like perfectly. You're like, oh yeah, it's good. Like, it's been a while since you've played something, so it's like it's feeling good under the fingers to get back into it again. Odie, you get like a line and a half in, and then you forget the words. Like, the performance is fine. Like, your singing voice is fine, but like you forget what you're singing halfway through.
Do the crew join in?
After a little while, like, one of them starts to feel awkward about the fact that the silence has just started happening, so he starts like humming along. And then after a little while, like, you get to the top of the next verse again, and you're like, oh, I kind of remember the beginning of the next bit again. I'll do this bit for a little while, and people start joining in. Until eventually, like,
It's like a pity hum.
yeah, it's a pity hum.
Pity morale counts, right?
Yeah, it totally counts.
After a little while, Elland is able to carry it by providing some backing that's pretty good, and people seem to be fairly happy. They've started to pick up singing a little bit more. It's around about this time that like the beginning of the day is coming as well. So some of the crew who hadn't been kind of roused or had gone back to sleep start coming back up on deck to relieve the night crew, and start kind of moving the ship onwards a bit more, and they join in for a little bit as well. It's around about this time that Vixen and Katie, you walk out of the cabin, and there's a smattering of people singing a sea shanty. But just as you're about to kind of like walk out of the cabin, you see the captain comes out to the door, and she's just like, okay, so I said one thing when I brought you on board, and you said you're a musician.
Oh no.
Do you remember what it was? Do you remember? Because I do.
Yes, I do.
No sea
What did she
shanties.
say?
Yeah, she
Oh.
said no sea shanty.
All I have heard for almost 4 months is sea shanties. Play literally anything else, please.
Play
Please.
some rock and roll.
Yeah, do you want me to play some Ariana Grande? Like, I got that.
Okay, I can change the
Okay.
song. What do you want me to play?
Honestly, do not care, just not that. Okay? Cool. I'm gonna go back and I'm going to do my meditation now.
Third time lucky.
And you see, like, she turns around and walks back in, and the door just kind of slams behind her without her, like, touching it. Just like...
Thought I'd end up with Sean, but it wasn't a match. It's some songs about Ricky.
What are you singing?
Ariana Grande.
Oh right, sorry. I'm not down with the kids. Like I don't know that.
Yeah.
Odie learned some brilliant 2019 pop culture while she was on that pirate ship.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were pirating all the latest singles.
Oh, wow,
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
no.
Well, it's been a good run. Bye bye, everybody. End of the show. Bye bye. Right. Anyway. So yeah. The morning comes, and you've got another day ahead of you of sailing on the sea. This one seems to be going by pretty uneventfully. Up on deck, there doesn't seem to be anything more that's of interest. You can see that some of the crew have kind of tied the using some of the loose rope that they have. They've basically attached the Silent Sisters so that it's being kind of towed by the ship, which has slowed it down like a little bit. But they seem to be taking it in for salvage.
Okay, fair enough.
Um,
Just quickly, I wanted to say that when we got back on deck, that I told Kada to like relay everything back to the party and just explain as to why I didn't say anything first, and then I'll be like this day just sort of reading up and trying to decipher the message with Snox and my egg in my lap while I do so.
Okay. Make an intelligence check. And if anyone else wants to try and help, then you can roll to
Please
give
do!
advantage.
I will.
What check was it?
Intelligence.
Intelligence.
I'm not really intelligent. So...
Oh
Thank you,
boy.
Kada!
Oh damn.
Okay. So, Vixen, you spend a little while trying to get into it, and your mind is a little bit frazzled from like the previous night. You're just kind of like.
Can I say that my giving her advantages by bringing her like a beer or whatever,
Yes,
you can.
Kada, I love
and
you.
just like sitting and just like hanging out.
Yeah.
Mine is giving her an apple.
Thanks, Odie.
The apple is not as much help as the beer.
Yeah.
So what? No, go ahead, Cal. Sorry.
So yeah, after a little while, you're able to kind of get some of the basics down. You feel like you're pretty confident in like common recurring letters. Like you're able to tell like, I think this is probably a vowel. I think that's a consonant. I think that's a rare letter. Like you're starting to get like an idea of like, you haven't actually deciphered any of it yet, but you're like, I have
I'm
a few
finding it.
theories to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's over the course of the day. You managed to kind of get that down. Otherwise, the day goes by fairly kind of fairly uneventfully. Yes.
Can I see if anyone wants to like practice sparring or like practice with my throwing knives or something?
Sure.
I am down for that because I'm terrible.
Cool.
Okay. So we'll treat it as like you guys are having like an actual combat encounter, but there won't be any damage done. So
Okay.
we will roll the damage so you can see like, oh, it's a good hit or a bad hit, but there won't be any. We won't be keeping track, and you won't be like cutting each other up or anything.
That's probably good.
So let me just grab up like a blank thing here a second.
Sorry to like, you know what? I'm not sorry, but for throwing this at you, Cal, last minute.
No, it's chill. Like, there's a reason I have a bunch
Sorry,
of
not to
blank
worry.
ones ready for these
Yeah,
kind of things.
that's good.
Let me grab your tokens. A second. Tony and Kada. Okay.
Scribble.
Okay.
What pattern is forming? I don't get it.
She's working out the note. She sat there, like, I guess on deck in the sun or something, like, trying to decipher this note while we're pissing around with swords.
Ah.
Okay. And right. Blank battle mat. Let's give it a second.
Can I have Bart, please?
You can have Bart. Give me a second. Grab him.
Thank
See if I can remember how to do any like battling with D&D.
There you are.
Thank you.
Right. So, both roll initiative for me, please.
you. Initiative.
Where's the thing? Oh,
Okay.
I'm gonna use my. I'm trying to think of which weapon I'll
Let me
use.
see.
Um,
30, 16,
I'll use
Cada,
a
12.
quarterstaff. Ooh, I'll use that.
Okay. Right then. So first up, it is Odie. It is your turn. You get the first hit. What would you like to do?
Do I just click on my weapon?
If that's the one you want to use.
Yeah, because the point is I'm trying to improve my hand-to-hand combat.
That's your weapon proficiency. So on your character sheet, there should be a list of like attacks in the middle somewhere. Let me see.
Like crossbow and scimitar and stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh.
So if you click on
I'll
it in
use
there.
scimitar then.
Okay. Whew. 23.
Ouch. I'm pretty sure that hits me.
It does hit. So
Yeah.
roll your damage to see how meaty a hit it is.
How do I do that? Sorry.
Click on the word scimitar in the chat and it'll roll it.
Oh, again.
Yeah. No, in
No.
the chat. In the chat box.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright. It's been a while since we did a combat. Okay. It's a fairly decent hit, so yeah. Feel free to describe this hit however you would like, Odie.
Okay, so I learned this move after, being on a pirate ship and watching everyone, style and thrust and parry. I'm just gonna go instantly with a over my left shoulder. I just swing and slice. I do try and do a swipe downwards across the chest.
Okay.
And that worked. But obviously I don't actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for reals. It's
Yeah. You guys are using, there's like some practice weapons that are in the quartermaster's place. They're blunted,
Okay,
so
cool.
like they might leave a bit of a bruise, but they're not gonna cut anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, Katie, you get a pretty nasty kind of like slash, quote unquote, down the chest.
Ouch.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, Kato, it's your turn.
Yeah. I'm just making notes as we go. I will move into flank with Bart and with my rapier.
Okay, are you wanting to do it? You wanting it to be like an actual flanking flank?
Yeah, just so I get my sneaky sneak.
Okay.
Flank?
Yep, that works then.
What's a flank?
Because I have Bart, he's a familiar, so he's a like ally essentially. So if I am flanking, so if I'm next to you with someone with an ally, it counts as flanking, and that means I get my sneak damage.
Oh yes, that right.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Tammy? You're muted.
It's slightly different for
was-
Kada for different rules, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say flanking is pretty much one person opposite someone. Like Piggy in the middle, there would be a person in the middle and the two people opposite would be flanking them.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But it works differently for Kada because she has
She's
different
sneaky.
rules because she's sneaky.
Sneaky.
Okay, so yeah. 12. Odie, your armor class.
I don't know what her armor class is.
Your armor class is 13. It does not hit you.
Damn it. Okay, I'm a bonus action to. I can't remember how far can I move on my bonus action.
You can use any of your movement that's left.
I think I was here, right?
You
Or
were,
was I
I
one
think,
further away?
there.
Okay. I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter because she's going to move up anyway, so I won't. Let me hang on 1 second. I didn't expect to be doing this either. Apologies.
Don't worry.
It's chill. It's good to pass the time. So you guys can see that, like, as you start kind of like getting this like slight back and forth, a couple of the deckhands who weren't as busy as the others are kind of like leaning on the side of the ship, just kind of watching this fight. And the quartermaster Lorenzo is standing there. He's holding like his trident in one hand, and under the other hand he's got under his arm he's got Stubby. He's kind of like making
Stubby.
like an interested gurgling noise.
The winner of this gets to cuddle
Can-
Stubby.
Okay.
In the meantime, can I start like organizing the bets for the fight so we can get some money?
Sure.
Okay.
Make
Yeah, good
Oh,
idea.
make persuasion checks. Well, just make a persuasion check, and we'll see how well you're able to kind of get people to put money on
I
it.
want some of that profit though if I win.
yeah, me too.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
How is your persuasion 10? Jesus Christ.
Bards.
Because
The bard.
expertise, yeah.
Because of really good.
I have a question when you finish doing the bets and stuff.
Okay. So yeah, Alan, you can see the people who are kind of like groups and who are watching the fight, and yeah.
Yeah, I just like take a notebook, a paper, and a pen or whatever, and I started like asking someone and forcing people to waste their money on this.
You can see that the a couple of the people, like, they don't take their eye off the fight at all. They just kind of like reach down into their pocket and grab like a couple of like loose coins and just like pop them down and just like one of them is immediately just like, my money's on the green one, and everyone's just like,
Hey.
nah, what are you talking about? I think the elf's gonna win. Just like, we'll see. Early days, and they're like, just like sitting there, like, if you can imagine, they'd be like leaning on the bar with a pint, except it's on the side of
Yeah.
a ship. It's like,
I can picture it.
okay. So yes, you had a question.
My question is about Hellish Rebuke. I've got
You-
written down,
What?
when wounded, can use bonus action to cast Hellish Rebuke.
yes,
So
you could
when can I do that?
when you are hit and take damage.
So would that be on Odie's turn or on my turn?
It's a reaction to you taking damage on if someone hits you. So on your
so
turn.
I have to prepare that.
You don't have to prepare it. You can just say like.
Oh, so it's on
So
my
then
turn. Did you
it's
say?
on. It's
Sorry.
on. It's on. No, it's. You can have a reaction on someone else's turn. So,
Yeah.
say next turn Odie hits you and you take damage. You can say, okay, I use my reaction, Hellish Rebuke.
Okay, but I don't have to prepare it.
No.
Because I think. Okay.
Just you can. I think there's a limit of like once per day on it, but other than that, you can use it whenever.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
So, is there anything else you'd like to do with your turn, Kada?
I think I am good. Thank you.
Okay. Odie, it is your turn.
Right, so here's what I want to do, right? I want to use the bottom end of my scimitar and try and push back Kada's left shoulder and then try and smack her with my hand.
Oh, all right.
Rude.
Yeah. Roll to hit.
Damn it!
Oh, that's a nat one.
So I'll do like a Matrix thing where I'm like back and I'm like going down and like whoa, like pass the sword and then just stand up and be like, haha.
Okay.
I just saw someone on the ship do it and I thought it was really cool.
So Odie, like, you put like a bit too much weight behind it. So like, when you don't make contact with her, you don't meet the resistance you're expecting, and you start overbalancing, and you can feel yourself as if you're about to fall over forwards. Make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
Where do I do that?
Top
Is it
left.
on the left?
Saving throws.
Oh yeah. Top.
saving throws? As in, oh, right, got you. Yes.
Okay. You're able to, like, wheel your arms enough that you don't, like, fully overbalance, but, like, you are in a really weird, like, footing position. You are very off balance right now.
Cool.
So in the meantime, I'm gonna try and take my rapier and like tap her hard enough for her to go down on the knee, but not hard enough to break it.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just
That's too much for a like
Oh, for God's sake!
fake fight.
You don't manage to hit. You go for where you're expecting her to be, but her balance means that she's slightly off center from where you're like, ah. So you don't manage to hit either.
It's going well, isn't it?
So here's what I'm gonna do, right? For my turn. Okay. So I'm actually going to go on my knee, and I'm going to.
Pop the question.
Katie, you're just so great at this.
Oh, thanks, babe. I'm really not.
Try and swing my scimitar and try and hit between Kada's shoulders, between the lats.
What?
So her head.
No,
You're in front of me. I don't understand.
no. So I would go on my knees, and I would. The way how I imagined it is, if I fell over and went on my knees, I would be like sort of next to you, like across from you, like literally adjacent from you, like how we are now.
Yeah,
I'm facing
like facing each other.
No, I'm
Right.
facing like north. You're facing south.
Oh, okay.
So
you're
what
just gonna like side swipe and
side swipe, yeah.
Okay.
got it.
Yep.
I'll do a scimitar.
It's the problem with scimitars; they're just too good. Hey, that doesn't hit me. Boom.
Damn Oh my god!
It's alright,
Kada.
because I'm not going to hit you either. So I will lean forwards and I'm going to do a really cool thing where because I got my rapier in my right hand, so I'm going to lean forwards, put my hand on the ground and like cartwheel over your scimitar.
Ooh!
And then I'm going to bring my scimitar down on your elbow as I stand up.
Okay. Make an acrobatics check for me, please.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Hey!
Yep.
I'm more just happy for you that
Easy enough to do.
Oh, that hits, doesn't it?
Oh, sugar doodle.
Sorry, babes.
Yep. That
Oh,
hits.
I know it's no odd feelings.
Oh, that doesn't have sneak on it. Oh, it does.
Yes, it does.
Sorry. I'm so glad I pulled that off. That was such a cool attack.
Mm-hmm. So Odie, you get like a real hard hit to like. Where exactly were you gonna like hit
It was
Odie?
on her elbow.
On the elbow.
I'm assuming that you were using your right hand because that's the side that I'm on. So if that's the one with your
Yeah,
scimitar.
I was trying to use
Yeah.
my right arm to swing the scimitar.
Yeah. You get like a sensation with like your in your elbow. You know, like when you hit your funny bone and your entire arm just goes like
Oh,
for a
yeah,
bit.
I've
You're
done
just like,
that is the
"Ooh."
worst.
Yeah. It takes you like a little while for you to get the feeling back in your hand, like maybe a second or two.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put my scimitar in my left hand, use it as an anchor to get hold of it, and then use my right hand to pivot it and try and trip up Kada.
Pivot. Pivot.
I am pivoting. Okay.
Shut up!
Roll
See,
to
and
hit.
you all said Friends wasn't funny.
What? I love Friends.
No.
No,
I-
it was Fran that said that.
Did I?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
You said this like.
Okay,
before
don't
stream.
tar us all with the same brush. I love Friends. I think it's hilarious.
I think it's
Anyway.
fine.
That's
That's Fawn Whip.
Oh,
What?
sorry.
Yeah, what?
Just bust out the magic in the middle of this fight.
Sorry. Sorry.
I mean, you can if you want, but it's a waste of a slot.
Alright. Scimitar.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Ah,
Ooh,
yeah.
20.
Um.
Okay, roll your damage.
4.
Oh, that's not
Okay.
too bad.
I'm okay.
It's
Oh,
not
dear.
as hard a
I'm
hit as it
tripping
would
move
be
anyway, so
if you were using like your good hand and you had like proper leverage behind it, but you manage a decent passing hit.
See, I've tripped you over
So
now.
you've tripped me. So now I fall on my butt next to you.
Yeah.
And I will, like, obviously none of the attacks that I'm doing are that hard because I don't want to actually hurt you. But what I'm gonna do is
Going easy on me?
no. Uh, like I have my scimitar in this hand and you're on the left of me, so I'm gonna like kind of turn over and bring the handle of my scimitar down on your sternum.
Okay.
All right.
Ow.
I want to win the fight. Oh, it doesn't matter 'cause it doesn't hit anyway.
Yes!
That's one sternum.
Yeah.
So what happens instead, Odie? She brings it down to try and like hit your sternum. What happens?
So what I do, because the scimitar is like facing downwards, what I do is that I pivot it back up and it blocks it.
Ooh, okay. So we've currently got like a scimitar against scimitar blocking going on. So
Nice.
both of you make strength checks for me, please.
Oh man.
Oh no, I'm really, really bad. with
So am
strength.
I.
Oh god, I'm a -2. It's gonna be terrible. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Odie, your scimitar is holding there, and you manage to hold it for a few seconds, but then Kada's like managing to put just enough pressure that it's like it's moving back towards you. The block is not holding very well.
Okay, this is my turn now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll away and get back up on my feet, and again use the bottom end of the scimitar to whack Kada on the shoulder.
Okay.
Copycat.
Roll to hit.
Right, get the scimitar.
Nope.
Damn it!
So I'm just gonna, as she tries to bring it down, I'm just gonna like turn sideways and just watch it, like.
Yeah.
And while you're leaning down,
Hmm.
I'm gonna bring my blade up, like the flat of the blade, obviously, because that would be horrible, and hit you on the back of the head.
Ooh.
Woohoo.
I'm not.
Yes. So what
This
I'm
is
gonna do,
ridiculous.
if you're gonna hit me in the back of the head, I want to try and grab it with my right hand. So I reach behind it and catch it, and then yank it so you're either unstabilized or I've taken it from you.
Okay.
Okay.
First, make a dexterity check to see if you can catch it.
That.
Oh my God.
Yes, you can.
Fuck it.
You manage to catch it, and it's one of those like you don't even have to properly look. It's just like a. You've got it, and then make a. You make a strength check, and Kada make a strength check. Kada, you'll be at disadvantage because you're not expecting
Yeah,
this.
I'm not gonna beat a gnat anyway. So.
Oh, nat
Rubbing
20
it in your
and a
face.
1.
That one.
Yep, you are able to just wrench the sword out of Kada's hand. And now you have 2 swords.
I'm gonna. No. Do you want to continue doing and call it there?
No, we can continue.
Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Okay. So I'm going to. Are you still on the floor? Or are you up on your feet?
On my feet, I guess, because I hit you around the head.
So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna swing the sword, and do like, is it called a grandpa when you hit them at the back of your knee and so it makes them unstable?
I've no idea.
I've never
but yeah,
heard
go
that,
for
but
it.
sure.
Okay.
Unless you mean a donkey bite.
Is that what it is? Like the back of the kneecap?
Yeah, you could do a donkey bite there. That's really
Yeah,
nasty.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Do a donkey bite on the left. What should I do? No. Oh wait, no. Logically, yeah, the left knee,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna use not the actual blade of my scimitar, like sort of in the middle of it, and whack and like whack the shoulder again to kind of make you go back on the floor.
Okay.
Okay. Roll to hit.
Yeah.
First one you manage to hit, you get her down, you hit the back of the knee, and Katie, you go down to one knee.
Yeah.
Second one, roll to hit.
Oh wait.
Do you need me to do the scimitar again?
Yeah, because if you're hitting her once, you're hitting her more than once.
Oh.
14?
Yeah, I think that's it. It's equal. Does that?
Yeah, that
hit?
means it hits.
Okay.
Okay, and you hit. Kada, make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Oh Jesus.
13.
Oh,
You
no,
get hit in the back of the head, and your vision goes real blurry for like a good 5 seconds, but you're like, eh.
Shake it off. Shake it off.
Like you're knocked to the floor, but you're still conscious.
Okay.
So can the rest of the crew tell who's actually winning?
No one has
Really?
any idea, which is good
So
because
I
it
don't-
keeps
oh, yeah,
driving
okay.
the bets up on either side.
Okay. No,
But-
because I just want to influence the fight to get more money, but it's okay.
So far, it's been going back and forth. At the moment,
it's
it
a
looks
little
like Odie's winning, but it's been going pretty equal on either side.
Yeah.
Kada hasn't hit as much, but she's hit harder.
Yeah. Okay, so on my go, I'm going to draw my dagger and offhand dagger. So am I
That's
on
not
one
what
knee
it
or am I
does.
actually on the floor?
Currently, you're actually on the floor, but you can
Okay.
get up
Gotcha.
pretty easily.
Cool. So, I can't remember what just happened. So you're in front of me, I guess? Just trying to picture my next move. Are you looking down at me?
I'm
Or
presuming
are
so,
you
yeah.
sideways or I can't.
I'm looking at you, yeah.
Okay. So, presumably, if I throw a dagger now, I'll be able to get it back. Is that after the fight? Is that cool?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
I'm gonna steal it. No, it's fine.
I'm not talking to you. Okay. So I'm gonna pull out my dagger and my dagger bracket oranges, and then throw my dagger bracket oranges at Odie. And then as she goes to duck, I will pull my other dagger out and try and hit her.
Okay.
In the stomach, maybe? I don't know.
Am I allowed to protest and say I would most likely go just go left or right to dodge it?
Can we call this your Fanta strike?
Yes. Oh my god.
Well, we'll
I
see
am
how
Fanta striking,
we'll see what happens, Odie. It'll come down
Yeah.
to the rolls on whether you can or not.
Okay, cool.
So, Kada, make a dexterity check for the thrown dagger.
Boom.
Oh.
Oh!
Okay. So, Odie, a dagger comes sailing towards you. Make
Right
a
at your
dexterity
face.
saving throw.
This is getting too,
No!
too violent.
You get absolutely beamed in the head with the hilt of this dagger.
You've literally
And-
stabbed me.
Just as
No,
you're
the hilt.
falling backwards from the hilt of this dagger beaning you in the head, you get the faint scent of oranges for some reason, and you start falling backwards.
Orange.
Okay, so yeah, I want to try and hit her with my daggers in the stomach.
Okay, roll to hit. I'll give you advantage because she's off balance.
Yeah,
And smells of orange juice.
Sorry, babe.
Okay, so 17. Yep, that hits. Roll your damage.
Just writing it down.
Oh.
That was that one, and then that's damage.
Right,
so...
Kada.
Okay. So with the
Okay,
first
so
one,
close contact with me, bitch.
Odie, make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Oh god. Oh my
I feel like she must be at 0 now.
It's less so that she's at 0. It's more so that the first one beams her directly in the forehead, and you basically pass out. You get a minor
Oh.
concussion, just
Oh, you knocked me out.
Love you, babe.
But it's okay, because after she knocked you out, she then also punched you with a dagger. It's chill. Things happen like that.
She agreed to have a fight with me, to be fair. It's her own fault.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I've learned and improved. So actually, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a small like chorus as she hits the floor of people going ooh. And
So,
then
like, once we finish the fight and stuff, I'll put my weapons away and go over to Odie and, like, make sure she's okay and put some water on her face and, like, care about her. And pick up my dagger brackets oranges.
I was gonna say there's gonna be some orange juice on my face.
okay.
I'll take a
So
flourishing bow to the watching crowd.
you get a few claps, including you can hear kind of a fairly loud one. You can see up on the top deck, Captain Koram is also clapping. And she's just like, a marvelous display. Now get back to work. And with that, we're going to cut to our break. So we'll be back in a few minutes, guys. And we'll see you for part 2 of tonight's episode of Tales of Escuria. Stick around, bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Jaltosh kurtexila Shresulush chazukuth When Luklui ninja Shioto sagrust Shaltosh kelsila troulul twin yana Shaltosh untensila ibahali ulul kwala Shaltosh kurtexila Sresulush chazukuth when luplui ninja shiotos aglust.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second part of tonight's episode of Tales of Escuria. So, with the fight over, and with Odie, you come back to consciousness maybe like a minute or so after. Like, you're not out for very long at all. But when you
Can I
come
just
to
say
consciousness,
as well, like in the spirit of it being a sparring match, I'm sat next to her, like fanning her, trying to like wake her up.
yeah, of course. So yeah, you come to consciousness and you can see Kada like beside you, and you can see like a couple of like the deckhands have like most of them have gone back to work, but a couple are kind of also standing nearby, kind of like looking at you, trying to like make sure you're okay, like waving hands in front of your face, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Ellen will say that from all of the bets you managed to get on that fight, you managed to get like maybe 4 gold.
Mhm.
The people don't seem to have very much loose change around, like on them, but what little they have, you now have.
Okay, so I just selflessly offer the money to the group as an act of goodwill. Like, this is what I get, and we can share it.
I'm down with that.
Aw. Profiting off my unconsciousness.
Dude, but it wasn't just off your unconsciousness, it was a freaking awesome fight.
Oh wait, yeah. I'm mucking about.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we'll cut down to beneath the decks. Vixen, whatever this strange commotion that's been going on upstairs seems to have calmed down a bit. Whereabouts do you think you'd be working on this decryption?
Well, I've got through sort of what I would say is the first paragraph, but like there's still a few sketchy bits. With the fight happening upstairs above on the deck, I didn't really concentrate as well as I could have. So I think there's a few sort of issues with some lettering that I'm not sure where to place it. Like it's scrambled as much as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've sort of got the first paragraph almost down.
Yeah, you're approaching something where it's like, yeah, I think most of the letters are like somewhere kind of in this area. You've kind of like narrowed down some possibilities, but like you when you're like practicing your theory, like there's like a ton of sheets of paper that are next to you which have been like scrunched up or like crossed out.
And lots of like illegible scribbles where I've just been trying to work out what's what.
Are you working on this like in like down in your like quote unquote quarters, or like where do you think you'd be working on it? Okay.
I'm sitting in my quarters, just on the floor, just papers all scattered around me. I've got the note in front of me. I've got Snox and the egg on my lap. Snox has been a great help, actually. He keeps making sure that I'm staying on track, so he knows that I needed to be doing this.
Okay. So as you're working on this, you're fairly nearby kind of the stairs which would lead down into where the what am I thinking? The hold for the goods and the brig. And you're like fairly near those stairs. There's like a wooden door which prevents you from actually going down there. But as you're in the middle of doing one of these, the door from the brig opens up, and out walks the woman that you'd seen who had been working on the cannons before, the drow woman. Kind of steps away, and she's got what looks like a few little sheets of paper with her. And she kind of like closes the door, doesn't seem to be particularly bothered by your presence, and starts walking off back towards the cannon section.
Okay. Is I can't remember her name. Snake lady.
Savar.
Savar.
Is she still down there?
Make a perception check.
Okay. Ah, come on!
Difficult to tell.
I go down to check if she's still down there.
Okay, you want to go down to check?
Yep.
Okay. Are you trying to do it in like a stealthy way, or are you just like walking?
I'll be sneaky about
All right.
it. Can I fox out and be all sneaky about it?
What define fox out in this case?
Well, if I go into sort of like more fox-esque, like hulking out and just going all long tooth and basically using my higher senses to help me in being light on my feet, swift, and maybe picking up on anything that I might hear or smell.
It would certainly help with the hearing and the smelling. The kind of shifter that you are is less suited to being like swift and stealthy, and more to I hit things real hard with claws. But you could certainly hulk out to try and like give your senses a bit more information to work with.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that then.
Okay. In which case, make another perception check with advantage. Okay.
Better.
So once you hulk out, you're able to kind of like pick up some more of the sounds of the ship, and you're able to kind of filter them a bit more clearly, and you can hear down below. You can hear the sound of Savar kind of like slithering around, like still definitely down there.
Okie dokie. Do I know much about this drow that walked out with the papers?
Make a history check. Okay. You seem to remember that they had been communicating with one of the other members of the crew using hand signals before.
Right. Okay. So they're trying to get information out of the guy in the brig.
Presumably.
Okay, I'm going to. Can I pick? She went towards the cannon area, didn't she?
Yeah.
If I pick up her scent, I'll know exactly where she is, right?
You could make a survival check to try and track her by her scent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Pretty. It's not that hard. There aren't many places you can go on this ship.
Okay, I'm gonna come out of my little foxy form then. Now I know where she is, and I'm just gonna sort of head towards her. General
Okay.
direction. I want to find out what she's got.
Yeah, sure. So you find her when she's back at the cannon. She seems to be in the middle of the same cannon that she was in the middle of like repairing when you guys first came on board. She seems to be working on this again, though it seems to be in a much better state of repair than it had been before. She's in the middle of kind of using at this point like a chisel to try and chisel around the edge of what seems to be some layers of built up grime or soot around the back of the cannon.
I tap her gently on the shoulder.
She turns around, doesn't seem particularly shocked that you are there, just like,
Hi. Okay. That's like she's totally fine that I'm there. Then she's not like being shady or anything.
not bothered. She kind of like looks expectantly at you, just kind of like a.
I just saw you passing, coming out of the brig. Is everything okay with our friend down there?
You see her kind of look a bit like, and you hear her kind of like call out. You hear her say the word Katika, Katika, and after a little while, the half orc that you had seen before walks back down from the other end of the room and is just like, "Yeah, Sarah, what do you want?" And then she's just kind of like, she starts like gesturing towards Katika very rapidly. And Katika starts kind of nodding and just says, "All right, I'm going to be translating for her. It just makes it a bit easier."
Thank you.
She says that's between her and the captain.
Is it something that we need to be prepared for? All I need to know is that is something wrong? Should we want to help you. We want to protect you. If there's any issue, can you let me know that much?
You see Katika, you see Sarah starts to do some more hand signals, and then Katika just kind of like nods on, is like, Seems fine, but you should probably talk to the captain if you want more information.
Okay, I'm going to head straight there now. Thank you.
No problem. And you can see like immediately like Sarah gets back to kind of like working on the cannon, and you see now Katika comes over and like lifts it up for her so she can get kind of the underside of the back of the cannon as well. Like,
Aww.
so yeah. Vixen, you walk up on deck just in time to see Odie come back to consciousness.
What on earth happened?
What?
I beat her down. That's what happened.
Why do
What
I
did-
smell
what?
Terry's chocolate oranges?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Odie. You're the weirdest druid I've ever met.
It's a thing. It'll catch on. Just like that was a good fight. That was good. Thank you.
So it was just a friendly skirmish.
Yeah, basically, we were just practicing and.
It was
having a
very
bit of a laugh.
loud. I could hear a lot of it below deck.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's
Must have been
okay.
distracting.
A little. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, I'm getting through it. I'm deciphering stuff, so you know, I'm just gonna speak
Okay,
to the
that's-
captain quick. Katie, you want to come with?
Yeah, sure, I'll join you.
Okay. So when you guys get back into the captain's quarters, furniture has been put back where it had been previously. The captain seems to be looking through the manifesto, and kind of like she seems to have like a few different sheets of paper where she's been making notes to the side, and seems to be kind of like puzzling over this one page in particular, like shaking her head. And you can see this kind of like through the little porthole in the door when you guys arrive to talk to her.
Captain, you look puzzled. Is everything okay?
But yes, everything's fine. Just it doesn't make any sense. I haven't found the connection yet. It's like I don't know if you have them here. You know those like books where you have like the dots and then you have to like draw from like one dot to another, and then like it makes like a picture.
Oh yeah, those little dot to dot puzzle
Yeah,
book things that they give to children.
yeah. It's like that, except there's like 20 of them on top of each other, and I can't figure out what dot goes to what other dot.
Can we help?
And you can have a go. I'm not sure how much it would mean to you though, because a lot of this is very kind of specific nautical stuff. I can try and explain a bit.
Yeah, why don't you try and explain it? Because sometimes if you try and explain something to someone, then you might process it differently in your brain and make a
That's
connection.
a great idea.
It is a good
It's
idea.
called rubber duck debugging.
Oh.
Interesting. Rubber duck. Why would you need a duck that's made of rubber? Anyway, and like, she starts trying to kind of like explain some of the basic concepts of just kind of like, well, this trade route wouldn't make any sense because this goes against some of the natural currents, so you would have to take longer to get there to go around that way. So there's no reason why you should go that way unless you were paid specifically to, and all these kind of things, and trying to make sense of some of like the dates and distances to try and like make sense of things. Make a intelligence check, and one of you can roll to provide the other advantage.
Oh, okay, mine's not too bad. Do you want to roll or roll for advantage? Okay.
We'll take yours.
No, we won't.
Okay.
I was rolling to give her advantage.
Okay. Sure.
That helps.
Okay. So, as best you can tell, the movements of this ship seem to not make very much sense. Like, if you're trying to plot on a map the kind of the directions that this ship has been going from like port to port, it, instead of like following a trade route or like picking up and dropping off, it seems to just kind of like randomly go on like months-long expeditions and not go into port and then come back into port in like a random place.
That is confusing.
See, that kind of makes me believe that it's stopping at port somewhere else
It
that
must
isn't
be.
generally on the map.
Yeah, if
So I'm
it's not coming in for months at a time.
it's got to be going to that island for something.
Well, where, like, can you tell where it's kind of going, where it goes from, where it appears?
Like, where's the last place it's seen before it goes
Yeah.
off for a few months?
That's the thing that I'm not able to figure out. Like, I'm looking at it and it seems to just leave from any port and arrive back at any other port. There's no kind of sense of a direction. Sometimes it leaves from the west and it arrives back in the west. Sometimes it goes from the east and arrives in the west. Sometimes west arrives east. It doesn't make
Could
any
it be
sense.
that they're carrying political information?
That just still doesn't explain why they'd appear on one side and disappear on the other.
Yes,
Or
and if
vice
it was political information, you'd want it to get there quickly, surely. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
spending months to go somewhere where you could get there in 2 days.
Yeah, I see your point.
They may be making port somewhere else, or
Like magic must be involved if they're traveling that far that quickly.
I mean, if you look at some of the stock that they've got, and she kind of like gets out the stock sheets and is like, they're stocking up for long journeys, like much longer than you would need to, spending a lot of money on food and water and supplies.
Yeah, if magic was involved, they'd be there. They wouldn't need to stock up on long journeys. That would be unnecessary too. Plus, we detected magic when we were on there, and there was nothing to detect.
But it might have been
So
one of the people or something, rather than the ship.
have any names perked your interest yet?
Nothing seems particularly interesting. The captain is Captain Korleth. I haven't met him personally, but I believe he was originally from House Morevo, and then he joined House Tithos when House Tithos became a thing.
So he switched houses. Interesting.
Yes, it was quite common for some of the people it's complicated. Tithos and Morevo, they kind of used to be the same thing, and now they're not the same thing anymore, so some people switched and some people stuck with what they were. Seems like this one decided to switch. I can't make any sense of it right now. I keep hoping there's going to be like one detail that I can like work outwards from, but I haven't found it yet.
How's it going with our friend in the hold?
He's I suppose talkative is not the word. He's quite communicative.
Communicative.
Yes.
Forthcoming with information.
That he is.
Any that
Rather
we
have
could
it that way around.
use?
Unfortunately, he hasn't given us much more information. Apparently, he only became a member of the crew maybe 2 or 3 months ago, which, according to this manifest, is only 2 journeys ago.
Can I do an insight check?
Sure. Telling the truth.
Nice.
Lovely. I figured we could trust her, but I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah. Better to check.
Yes. He doesn't have much.
Anything he said more recently?
He mostly just seems to be happy to be on a different ship. And to have someone that he can talk to more easily. I get the sense he hasn't spoken to someone properly for quite a while.
Sorry, out of character question. When we got onto the other boat, all the blood and stuff, was it dry?
Yes, it was dry.
Okay. In theory, like they could have been traveling for a really long time before, or he on that empty boat could have been traveling for a really long time. We don't know how
he could have
far
been drifting for
they've come.
weeks.
Yeah.
He did say it was like, what was it, 3 days before we got there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 3 days he was drifting.
How, like, in terms of the map, how far, like, would that have got him?
She's still got it on the thing.
Yeah,
where
well, no, we know what
That was the
direction.
direction. Let me see.
Yeah.
About 3 days travel. Assuming a
Just,
straight
like,
line
draw me a radius or something. Like,
would
you
be
don't have
like
to tell me exactly where it came from. Okay.
somewhere around about there, but mileage can vary. It's
Yeah, for
not.
sure.
That's assuming he came in a straight line and didn't
Yeah.
get picked up or
And
anything.
depends on the wind and so
Yeah.
on.
Is there any way we can match what he's suggesting from his journey to the manifesto?
I mean, apart from everything he's saying matching up, he said that they originally were going from. Let me see. She kind of like goes back a couple of pages and looks up and she goes, "Okay, so it looks like they originally were setting off from Copper Rim, and then they took a very strange route that took them to Azure Point. But then, after Azure Point, they were coming back. But it looks like they weren't going back towards Copper Rim, or I'm not sure where they were going back to.
Right. I think the best thing we could do is you've got 2 people on board that are very good at talking to him. A drow lady who's very fluent in sign language,
Yes, Sarah.
and someone who can interpret for her. Can I borrow them? I think maybe we should show him the map.
You can borrow them for a while, but I will need them to be doing their jobs.
I understand that.
Okay. In
We
the
might get
meantime,
some more information if we can show him the map, though.
yes, we'll see what he has to say about it. In the meantime, how goes the weird lettering thing?
Well, I have the first paragraph down, almost. There's a few sketchy missing bits. It was hard to concentrate. This one was having a skirmish upstairs. It was all very noisy.
Yes, so I saw.
But you know, it's fine. I've done like the first paragraph, which I think is okay considering. So it shouldn't take me too long to figure out the scribbly bits and then get onto the next paragraph, and then hopefully I'll be able to form it a bit more faster.
Okay, it's good to hear. As soon as we can get some more information, because frankly, this is going to be keeping me up all night if I don't figure out what's going on with it.
You and me both.
Me three.
Alright, as you were, give me a second. And she just kind of like scribbles something down on like a small piece of paper and hands it up to you, Vixen, after blotting it dry, and just says, "You can just hand this to Sarah and to Katika, and they will know that you are working with my express permission, blah blah blah. They can do what you want."
Thank you, lovely.
Okay.
I thought you were going to call her love then.
Thank you, love.
She's love.
Ta-ta, ta-ra.
Ta-ra, love.
She just kind of like she looks like she's going back to look at the manifest again and just says, "Oh, Kada, could I perhaps have a word later?"
I've got time now.
Unfortunately, I do not, but
Okay.
maybe
sure.
maybe this evening after supper.
All right.
Okay. I'll see you later then.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess we'll go back and find the others. See what they're doing.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you need to get back to translating, but.
Well, I think I need to talk to this our chap downstairs about the map.
Sure.
But I'd rather you were with me for that. I think you need to be as privy to all of this information as anyone. Do you think
I'm good at persuading? So.
You think it's good to tell the party now what's going on? I think it's probably fair to.
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
don't see why we would need to hold it from them. So.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too threatening right now, so it's really just information at this point, and then at least we can be prepared for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah. So we'll stop off to see these three, because Alyssa as well, Alicia, and then head down to talk to the people.
Okay. So yeah. Odie, Ellen, what are you guys getting up to?
Alan said he was wandering around the deck.
Please.
Nah, I'm really upset about like being left behind.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of. I'm probably keeping guard. Should I be?
Yeah, I guess like being on deck is a good idea because you can keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my job.
Ellen, why are you upset?
Because we've been left behind. We're a team.
Yeah, we're here to tell you all the info.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
why now?
Well,
'Cause-
there's not much room in the captain's office. Alicia
Yeah.
can't even fit in there.
Well, what? You can leave the door open so we can hear it.
Well,
We'll
we
make
also
this
need eyes on deck in case anything's to go wrong.
And also the whole crew will hear if we leave the door open.
Exactly. We don't want to worry anyone at this moment in time, which is why we've kind of
Of
tried to keep a lid on it.
Of course. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you've got to admit this whole thing is really creepy.
Yeah, it is. Can we just like relay the information that the captain just told us so they are all aware?
Yeah, literally, they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Hmm.
OD, Ellen? Wakey, come
I'm
on!
thinking.
Sorry, I was like pondering. I don't know. I'm guessing that you guys know best, so.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say we know
But-
best. At the moment, we know pretty little.
Yeah,
But
that's what we're trying to work
Well,
out.
better than me.
But I think that unlike you, I will show you my good intentions towards the team, and I will like open like what I have, what my like I don't know my
Jacket or whatever.
something, and I look what I found on the other ship, and I show them like the brandy 400 years bottle of House Maribo.
Jesus Christ, where did you get that?
Well, you're a bit of a hypocrite now, aren't you, Ellen?
Well, you knew that. You can blame me.
Well, now you understand the way we didn't take you to the bloody captain's office.
At least our information could have put us in danger, so we thought
Yeah.
we'd better keep it under wraps. You're just hoarding treats.
Why didn't you tell us?
Not cool, man.
Well, I mean, everyone has their secrets, right?
Oh, I'm Ellen. We need to be a team. I'm going to hoard this one.
I'm really upset, but really, really.
Have some booze, it will help you feel better.
No, not really. I will save it for a better occasion.
I would like having history with the Mariva family. I know you are a Mariva, but anyway, I'm gonna suggest probably holding on to it and trying to sell it because they're what is it you said, like brandy is worth a lot of money, so you'd be able to get a decent price for it, especially if we're going to Emberden because it's going to be full of all the sailors and stuff. So
Yeah.
You might want to detect it for poison or anything, though, just to be sure.
or if we're going to sell it, doesn't matter.
It's my brandy vixen. You don't have an opinion on it.
Woo!
It's my plan, Ellen. You don't have an opinion on it.
I
Burn.
don't like this conflict.
It's fine.
It's been like
With
this
advantage.
Odie doesn't understand sarcasm, so she thinks everyone is being serious. It's
Oh.
kind of
I'll like pat her on the head and be like, "Don't worry, they're not really arguing. It's fine."
Okay.
Yeah, Ellen and I have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, that's basically their thing. Anyway, yes.
Yep.
Do you want to come down with us and talk to this like mute dude, or do you want to stay up here? What do you want to do, guys?
I'll go down.
Yeah, I'll go down. I don't think that
I need something to do.
that he will know anything, but it's the best. Well, it's the only thing we know.
I think it's better if we're all together, because if he isn't trustworthy, at least we can all sort of gauge how he responds, and one of us might pick up something one of us can't.
Alessia is just kind of like, she's right at the front of the ship and she's like holding on to her like massive glaive and like sweeping the horizon, like looking back and forth, and she's just like, I'll keep an eye up out here. I like being able to see things now.
Oh,
I'm not sure she'd fit in the hold.
Yeah, there is also that.
Poor
We will tell you
Alicia.
what happens, Alicia, when we get back.
Okay.
So we head down to the hold. To the brig.
To the brig. Okay.
Is that you walking down the stairs?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you get down to the door, the actual wooden door that leads down to the brig appears to be currently like locked.
I'm gonna knock on it.
Okay. After a couple of seconds, you hear kind of rapid slithering sounds, and then
Oh shoot! Hold on, we forgot the drow and thingy. We can't talk to him without them.
Oh, okay, you go get them off.
Okay, I run off to go get them because I'm stupid and forgot.
Yeah, never mind.
Okay. Savar opens the door like the tiniest crack so you can just see like one eye, and is just like, yes.
Just us, Savar. We just want to come in and talk to the guy.
Does the captain agree?
Yep, I've got this bit of paper that I took from Vixen earlier, and I give it to Savar.
I need that paper to get them to understand what we're
Okay.
saying, you Wally. Just
Okay.
tell her.
Or
that
say
I've
you've
got
had enough
it.
time to like run and grab them, and you get like,
Okay.
Just
I
make
shoved the
small
paper in
talk.
front of Kada's face.
No, Savar's face. I don't need to see it.
No, it's so she can see it, but it's in front of your face.
Oh, I see.
it's like, Savar like very quickly like tilts their head and is just like, this is acceptable. And then, like, opens the door and then, like, slithers down out of the way so that you guys can come down into the into the brig.
Thanks.
Oh, don't mock her language.
I was gonna say that's
I
kind of the
will
equivalent of doing like an
stab
Irish
you
accent
in
in
your
front of an Irish person.
sleep.
Kaida, you got a death wish.
I'm really sorry, Samara. I couldn't help it.
It's okay. It is quite humorous.
I like
Thank
Samara.
God for
I
that.
like Samara
They've
too.
got humour.
Can I offer you a beer?
Certainly.
Where can I find beer on the ship?
Canteen.
Okay, I'm just gonna run up there quick. Anyone else?
Wouldn't that be the mess hall?
I don't drink.
Do you want a
Same
soft drink? That's probably not a thing, is it really?
Do they have a canteen on a
Do
ship?
you want a beer? Do you want a beer? Do
They
you...
do
I'm
on
gonna go
certain
get
You
ships.
beers.
get a beer. And you
I'll have
get
a
beer.
mead.
I'll have a water.
You'll get whatever they have.
They'll have mead.
So I'm gonna go upstairs to the canteen / mess hall and get 2 beers. I'm getting a beer for Ellen because he didn't say anything.
Did you
And
say
a mead
meth
for-
hall?
No, mess hall.
Mess hall.
That's a very different part of the ship.
That is a different
That's
one.
Hawk's room. Anyway,
That's where
Uh,
Hawk is.
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
breaking
You've
dungeons.
got- we haven't seen him for 2 days. Where is he?
Probably
Um,
still having Nookie with that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, yeah. So I'll grab some drinks and come back down, and I picked up a beer for the guy in the brig as well.
okay. So yeah, when you come back, you can see that the guy seems to be like he's sat on like a little, almost somewhere between like a shelf and a bed, like it's just kind of slotted into the wall, and there's something approaching like a cushion at one end of it. And he's just kind of sat on that, like looking at all of the people that are suddenly in this room, and he has that look where he's just kind of like, "Oh, this is a very full room." Okay.
I wave friendlily
Me too.
because that's a word.
kind of-
Friendlily.
He kind of like he waves back for a second and then like looks over towards Savar, and Savar just kind of like glares at him, and he just kind of stops waving and puts his hand back down.
Aw. I will sorry, just take my beer and go and sit next to Savar and just let you do the talking. I'll just keep very beady eyed and keep an eye and see if I can spot him lying or whatever.
Okay. For
Okay,
the
so
sake of expediency, we'll assume in this conversation that I'm, instead of me describing him doing hand signals and then it getting relayed to you, we'll just have it like it's a conversation.
I was literally
cool.
just going to say almost the same thing. Like everything I'm relaying to the orc, which should be relaying to drow, which
and
should
to
be
the, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Chinese
it's
hand
just the whole
signals.
circle of communication. Yep. Okay, so I'm asking him. Well, I'm telling him first about the ship's manifesto, and that there are some areas in it that are sketchy, and we can't work out exactly where the ship was traveling. But we've also found a map, and I wanted to show it to him because I want to know if he's ever docked there, and if he could tell me where the port is, and any information surrounding the waters that might explain their journeys a little bit more.
Okay. So like he nods along as like all these questions are coming. And he starts to get that look on his face, and he's just like, "That's a lot of questions at once." Okay, yeah, all right. Until after a little while, he starts to kind of like sign bits back, and essentially he says, "We have been." We haven't really been docking on that island. We've been near it a couple of times, close enough to like look through a spyglass, but we haven't actually been there.
What have you been looking at?
He just kind of like shrugs, and then he just says, "The captain was looking, I wasn't."
Do you know what the captain was looking at?
Shakes his head.
No rumors from the crew?
He just kind of opens his mouth and points to his lack of tongue.
Yeah, but he can lip read. I haven't forgotten.
Yeah. he
It's
then
being
like
relayed
signs and he's
anyway.
just like, I'm not the only one like this on the crew. All of us were.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Oh, so this is
Mm.
like
So everyone was mute and deaf.
Yeah, and were they all deaf as well?
He kind of nods his head.
What the
Ooh.
heck?
This is huge information.
It's around this time that
Great
you start to remember, you start to kind of put together Silent Sisters. Name of the ship.
Oh, god damn it, Cal, you freaking wonderful DM you. Was
Also,
there a
thanks for
second
reminding
ship?
us,
Was there a second ship?
He shakes his head.
So just the one ship.
So
Huh.
you said that the captain was the only one that knew what was going on.
Where
As far as I know, yes.
where where were you traveling to at months at a time? Because there doesn't seem to be any ports that you ever docked at. Was there any other islands, or could you make a map of the route?
He says no islands.
Could you draw a map of the route that might fill up some holes for us?
He kind of like reaches out for you to like present him with like a map for him to doodle on.
Can we? Is it possible to not get it to doodle on the map, but to get it on like a bit of paper over the map, sort of thing?
Like
Yeah.
trace it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
some
that.
thin parchment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say that's fairly doable. So he starts kind of like tracing the route, and at first you can see. I will trace this, and I'll do it in a different color. Give me a second. I will do
What do
this.
we want exactly from him?
Sorry.
Just to find out about the ship, see
Yeah,
where it was going, and see if we can work out.
So
Information
in
as to
dark
what
blue.
happened.
right now the other map, the treasure map, is like secondary, right?
It's part of
Yeah.
it. We
Okay.
know that the captain was looking at it.
Mm.
The crew was silent because no one wants them to tell or be able to see anything or be able to talk about it. Whatever was going on is shady shit. And we know that there's a town or village on that island that shouldn't be there. No one seems to know that that exists. So this is all big information that we've currently already found out, but we're just trying to piece together their route and as to why they were checking on the island and what's going on there. And also, just deciphering the note will probably tell us a lot more.
Well, he's hoping.
So
So he was tracing the thing you were saying, Cal.
Yeah.
Yep.
oh god.
Wow. Why is there like a big whirlpool bit? What was
So-
that all about?
Okay.
They've like looped round by, as your point.
Hang on, I'm just gonna move my character sheet. What the?
Maybe there's an underwater
No.
city there.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Maybe
say,
that's
is this
where
like
the
a
fish
symbol,
person
or
came
is it...
from. No, this is their
Oh.
route that they took.
Well, yeah, but is the root
what's
meant to
in there?
represent a symbol?
I don't think so. I think
Because
it's
it's
just
like a whirlpool.
Yeah. Well, does that mean there's something in the middle?
Well,
Yeah.
it looks like they've gone round it in a certain way. Like, obviously, there's a
Mm.
way in and a way out, and they know it.
So we're saying
There's
like
definitely something there that's really intriguing.
Well, because
Does
if we look, because when they went to Snow Harbor, they did like a weird
A loop. Yeah.
loop as well, and
That might have. Yeah. Sorry. They
And-
could have just changed their minds halfway or something. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
Like
and
the
they
other one
went-
looks purposeful, whereas that one.
and it went really near to the place on that ruined map. It
Yeah.
looks like they went near it. and
Yeah.
then
Well, they were
left.
saying that he was looking at it. The captain was looking at it. Can I turn to the guy and say, was the captain also mute and deaf, or was he whole?
He could speak.
Do you know anything about drow houses?
A little.
Can I draw like each house has like a symbol, something like that? Can
Yeah,
I draw
yeah.
them and show them the symbols? Like, do you recognize any of those?
He kind of like takes a little while before he points to the symbol of House Rarlek. and then
And-
he says the captain was from there.
Right.
Do we know what this guy's name is?
You haven't asked.
What's
Oops.
your name, dude?
We-
What can we call you?
He signs out kind of individual letters, and it spells out Ridley.
Ridley. I like that.
House Raleigh.
Do we know anything about House Raleigh?
Yeah, I'm just.
I don't.
You can all
I
make.
point to the map that he's just drawn, and I point out the circular area, and I ask him what's in the middle.
He just kind of shrugs and then says nothing.
What was the captain doing when you were doing this maneuver? What was happening?
He was looking for something. Don't think he found it.
Did
Or he
anyone
didn't
come
look
off the
hard
ship?
No.
How far on this route did you encounter the fishman?
Well,
Can
it
you-
must
can-
have been up by Redfall because that's where the
Yeah,
I just
Line
want him to
finished.
place it on the map.
he points to where the line ends, and then he says
Oh, right, that's where it. Okay.
then he says that's where I went and hid, so I don't know what happened since then.
I could hazard a guess as to what's happened, but
go for it.
well,
Do you
I
wanna
think the
say this
village
in
of
front
people.
Ridley?
What was that? Sorry.
I
Harry?
just want to say, do we want to say this plan in front of Ridley? Or in
Can
front
you
of people?
insight a mute?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can read body language and stuff.
I can read it. Oh, nice.
Noise.
Okay.
You've rolled 3 23s
I
in
know.
the last
Yeah.
4 rolls.
He seems to be being pretty genuine with everything. Like he's not holding anything back particularly.
Yeah, I think we can trust him.
It might be that just Ridley wasn't in the know.
Mm. It
Well, I
sounds
don't think
like
any
it.
of them were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the point.
I ask him what he was doing on the ship, like what was his job or whatever.
What was your job?
So he seems to be kind of like fumbling with his fingers, trying to figure out how to say it, and then eventually, he just says like, "I don't know the word for it, but I made and kept barrels working."
Barrels.
Barrels working. What
Yeah,
barrels
barrels. If they break, if they leak, I fix them.
Okay.
Oh.
Wait, why would they not be able to leak what was in them? What was in the barrels?
Sometimes wine, sometimes oil, expensive stuff.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I'm not sure that would come to like 25 platinum, but
Yeah.
was there anything else they were carrying on board that was very expensive, like that they would have paid a lot for?
He just kind of like shakes his head, and he says, after a little while, "Sometimes crates, don't know what was in them."
Did the captain die?
Shrugs, and then just like signs like probably.
The crates that you were shipping, did they have any sigils on from houses?
He kind of like points to like the chart of like the different house symbols again, and he's just like, he just gestures at all of them. He's just like,
Okay.
So, whether the vessel was carrying various trades goods, the crew were picked for a reason. Obviously, we know this.
But
the captain is the sketchy person. I think we need to relay this back to our captain, because I think she could probably better find out what the heck is going on here. She may have even heard rumors about this circular area down here. Like,
Yeah.
in the meantime, Kada, if I leave that with you, I might go downstairs and decipher some more of this note, because I honestly think that will fill up all the rest of the gaps.
Okay. Yeah, she wants to see me anyway, so I might as well go back up and see her.
Yeah, I think it's probably best. I thank him, and I quickly scarper out, and I also thank Slytherin lady.
Savar.
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 I respectfully bow to Savar and leave.
Savar kind of
will-
bows in their own way, where they just kind of like their entire body just goes like down a bit.
Cool.
I will reach through the bar and clink Ridley's bottle, and then clink with everyone else, and then go back up to the deck to talk to the captain.
Okay.
Just like pretend that took a long time to get through supper.
Okay. So Kada, you go back upstairs, and at this point, the captain is sat behind their desk, and it's just kind of like waiting for you to arrive.
So I'll knock on the door and
She
wait
kind
for
of
her to invite me in, as it were.
she just kind of like gestures for you to come in, and says, "Oh,
Oh no.
who did we lose? We lost
Ella.
Fran.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
No
no.
more streaming for Fran. Anyway.
Oh, you're back.
There we go.
Okay.
Hello.
Just in time for us to
Okay.
wrap things up. So she invites you in and then says, "Would you mind closing the door behind you? There's something I would like to talk to you about, and I don't think it should leave this room." And that's where we're going to finish tonight's episode.
God damn it, Ken!
Damn you, cow!
Okay, so thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been a real fun episode tonight, and we'll be back next time with more Tales of Escuria. Just to say, as always, we are presented by and in association with Horsham Gamers. We are a local group who cover the whole range of gaming, through from roleplay and tabletop stuff like this, through to esports and competitive gaming, board games, anything you can think of. If it's related to gaming and nerd culture, we're into it too, and we'd love to meet some more of you. So if you'd like to come along to more of our events and meet some of us in person, then look us up on any of the social links below at Horsham Gamers on Discord, on Twitter, on Facebook, and we'd be able to arrange that so that you can meet some of us and become part of this rapidly growing community. We've been going for a little over a year now, and things are getting real good. So we'd love to have some more people involved, and we'll hopefully see some of you soon. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and thank you to my players for playing, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.